I'm Simon.
I'm Dan.
And this is Spongy and Electric, where we're talking about Edgar Wright's new film, Baby Driver. Baby Driver is about a child called Josh, who is played by Tom Hanks after a carnival incident was then taken by the mob.
Whoa. No, different film.
Oh, that's big.
That's big.
That's big, right.
Yeah, no.
Baby Driver is about a driver called Baby who works for the mob, which is represented by Kevin Spacey. A lot of things go wrong. Dan, what did you think of Baby Driver?
Well, it's interesting that you should say a lot of things go wrong. I am torn. I don't understand.
We're big fans of Edgar Wright.
We're massive fans. I really like it, and I don't want to, before I rip it to pieces. It was made, the filmmaking of this was brilliant. I really liked it. I thought it was shot tremendously well. I think Kermode quite aptly...
This is Mark Kermode from our favourite film show.
Yeah, really aptly kind of summarised it by saying it's an exercise in watching someone who really knows how to work with cinema well, showing you what he can do, what you can do with just, just lenses and everything, Really, really good. The editing was amazing, as in like every single Edgar Wright film. They're all fantastic.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim, the
Shaun the Dead. I knew you said Shaun the Sheep then. Sorry, I had a mental block. Yeah, he hit that noted Edgar Wright project, Shaun the Sheep.
It was brilliant. It was perfect. The one thing that I didn't get, and I think the reason why I came out, and from about 10 minutes into watching the film, I was a bit like, something doesn't feel right. I'm not sure what it is. I think it was the narrative itself.
You had a problem with the script?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did. I don't think that they didn't gel together.
Right.
The way what the film was from a visual perspective, and everything that was going along with what we were seeing on screen didn't really blend with the actual story. It felt a bit...
So the story was told in the wrong way, but the storytelling was excellent.
Yeah. I just don't think it. Yeah, there's something where they don't. For me, they just didn't fit together quite right. I'm not sure whether it could be almost. I did mention on our walk home. I think it could be a casting thing. It felt a little bit.
Who do you think was poorly casted?
What's her name? Lily.
The one who looks like her friend Sarah.
Yeah. I thought that the kind of relationship between Debra and Baby was a bit kind of weird. I'm not quite sure what it was meant to be.
That's one of the criticisms I've seen, that it was underdeveloped.
Yeah.
I don't think it was underdeveloped. I totally got why they wanted to do what they wanted to do. Every scene, they walked in, you knew where each character was at, what they wanted.
Don't you think it was really quite linear though?
Other
than the character saying this is what I want to do, there was never any kind of a real indication of why. We found out absolutely nothing about her.
Oh yeah, she's very one-dimensional.
And you're not, and that's not the point. I get that, but every single character it seemed really shallow. I don't think there was a tremendous amount of depth, which is really interesting because in his other works, you so don't get that.
So you're just starting your day, or did you just get off?
They call, I go,
So what is it you do?
I'm a driver.
Oh, like a chauffeur. Anyone I'd know?
I hope not.
It's worth saying that this is the style of the film is almost like a comic book. So it's naturally going to be like, because that is his style. Edgar Wright, that is. He kind of clocks things back and he keeps it quite simple. And the real spectacle is what happens on screen. And what happens on the screen was fantastic. I just felt in this case they skimmed the proportion of amazing filmmaking and the writing of the film were usually in his other ones pretty close, with a more of an emphasis on the visual spectacle. In this case, they felt like they were more distant. He's clocked up how it looks, but from an actual story perspective, it seemed like it had been dumbed down.
I mean, I felt like it just felt incomplete. It felt like he'd had a concept. I mean, you mentioned this. He had like a vision. He had a creative vision of what he wanted to do, and it was realised, but it was never matured in the conceptual stage.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is a curse. It's a similar thing, I suppose, that will happen to George Lucas, in that he just got to the point where nobody really questioned what he did anymore.
Yeah.
And Edgar Wright is one of these directors where he's one of the best directors around.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a production person working for him, who are you to like second guess him or saying maybe the script needs a bit more development? I'm not comparing Edgar Wright to George Lucas, incidentally. That is a heinous thing that I would never do.
Blasphemy.
But I don't know. I just felt like, I mean, I think we disagree in our problems with the film. I felt like from a structural perspective, I actually quite liked it. Apart from the beginning and the end, as in the very, in the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, I didn't like.
They're too fast.
The
ending was too fast.
The ending was too fast for sure. There wasn't enough.
It felt like they were like,
impact.
Holy shit, we've been going for nearly 2 hours and we're not really at the end.
Yeah,
Come on,
Edgar,
let's
come
go.
on, the budget's running out.
Yeah.
And the start just felt like I was like, I'm waiting for graphics. I'm waiting for graphic titles to come in on the road as he's driving over or something. It was, maybe this is because of our preconception of the director, but I was like, I'm waiting for something to happen. And then it never really did. And then he had the walk, which was I don't know if you noticed, was an impressive one shot, I think.
Oh yeah.
And that was, and that's like Shaun of the Dead. You know,
I'll tell you what it really made me thinking of was Birdman.
Yeah.
That whole sequence at the beginning was really similar. And again, Birdman made a point of really showing off that this is all one take, seamless, kind of really clever. And that when he's walking along the wall and you've got text, like the lyrics of the song you're listening to, and that's really clever. And the other thing too, an exercise, like a masterclass in editing sound.
He had an accident when he was a kid. Still has a hum in the drum. Plays music to drown it out. And that's what makes him the best.
Just incredible how you start with the tinnitus.
Yeah.
And then as he puts the headphones in, and that's always there whenever he removes the headphones, you hear that kind of buzz. Yeah. And how every fight, both the any of the car chases, which I thought were really well done.
Oh, all the car chases were excellent.
There were a lot of the way that he tackled the chases. What you could see, he was taking a lot from his work with Hot Fuzz.
Well, I mean, his style is very... I don't know if it was the same cinematographer, I haven't looked it up, but his style is normally very centre-framed. And what George Miller did with Mad Max Fury Road was that if you put everything in the centre of the frame, you can keep up with the cuts much quicker, which suits his style of filmmaking. So in a way, it felt inevitable that Edgar Wright was going to do a car chase and it was going to be amazing. I mean, I suppose he already did in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
But, you know, this film is about 50% car chases, which was just, every one of them was fantastic.
And the kind of the gunplay, how they synchronise shots, almost treating the guns as percussion.
Yeah.
You know, like, treating it almost like...
in a way, it must have made it quite easy to edit, because there's when you're editing, you know, you often will put a temp track in, whereas if you know exactly what the music's going to be, and then you just cut on the beat. It makes life easier. And actually, that reminded me. I think the two, the Jon Hamm's character, was it Buddy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and his girlfriend, wife,
Darling.
even. Was it Darling?
Was it Darling?
I don't know. Was it Darling?
Hang on, it was something like Darling, but it wasn't.
We'll put it on the screen now. That's the name.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah.
I liked their characters quite a bit. I thought that of the side characters, certainly he felt the most rounded. Like you kind of do, which was done in a quite a clever way with Jamie Foxx's character guessing his backstory and just watching his reaction. I quite like that.
That's another thing I wasn't too happy with. It seemed a little too...
I'm going to give you backstory.
Force-fed.
Yeah.
Like,
the way that every character just did exposition, which was like when Jamie Foxx's character explains to Jon Hamm's character why Ansel Elgort's character had the tinnitus, which he just heard from someone else talking like it was exposition.
And I think that is actually the reason why I think I really enjoyed the film, but the reason I felt slightly disappointed is because there was. In previous works, there's been no skimping on character development. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so much effort goes in, and you really connect with those characters. I don't really think I did.
I didn't connect with a single one. No. I don't think. I mean,
but that's not the point. I don't think that's the point. What it's meant to be is it's meant to be this like a visual romp.
It's an action movie. It's in the style of Bullet and things like that.
Yeah.
Where those characters in films that everybody lauds these days as being, the action films, their character development's terrible.
Yeah.
But more. But you do get more in those movies than I think you do in this. In particular, I think Kevin Spacey's character was just. There was a twist out of left field. It was like, oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
No inclination whatsoever that this should be the case.
No, there was. I mean. He's brilliant. He can, if you've got him on screen, you're going to have something good because he is just fantastic. Again, there are things as well. I've just finished watching the most recent season of House of Cards.
Oh, so you're really seeing him in monster mode.
Yeah, and it really makes you realise at points how much skimping on character has happened, because with any of Frank Underwood's, the character he plays in House of Cards, with any of his decisions, you can see the train of thought, and you know why he's made this decision, and you're in his head,
and you also know how the other characters will react to it.
Exactly, but in this, there's the moment where the big turning point for Doc's character is when he finally turns around, and rather than, as he's been saying throughout the film, you've got one more job, and then we're done, then it's over, then you're free. At the point where Baby goes and asks for help, and he's like, look, I haven't got anything, I need help. Doc at first is, no, I'm not gonna, I'm done with this. And then Debra walks and speaks next to him, and it's meant to be this moment of being like, oh look, they're young and they're in love and they need help, and I'm not as villainous as I'm made out to be. But because we've got nothing but a fairly kind of linear idea as to who he is.
Yeah, there's no inclination whatsoever.
The sudden shift feels, well, there isn't a reason other than the fact that it says, oh, this is my line in the script, and we've got to give it somewhere to go.
Also, that also wrecked the interior structure of the movie, in that you were expecting effectively this to be everything to build up to a confrontation with him. And partly that's not a fault of the movie, that's the fault of how we perceive movies.
Yeah, and we were also being spoon-fed this whole weird thing of, Baby had an abusive father. Oh yeah, so
no relation whatsoever.
There's constantly this weird kind of like, well, there are times where Buddy almost comes across like a father figure to him. Yeah. That's not explored at all. But then equally, it's then what's the relation with Doc? Like this, he finally steps in at the last minute, but it doesn't feel genuine. So then you're still confused as to what. Oh, I think the thing that I'm doing wrong, which isn't fair to the film, is that if the film had focused on the points that I want it to focus on, it would be a completely different film, because it wouldn't be an action film. It wouldn't be car races and gunshots and like that.
We're used to seeing Edgar Wright doing character-driven stuff, and it's normally comedy. Whereas this is not character-driven, and it's an action film.
It's also very, very, very American, and all
of
his other works, really, even Scott Pilgrim, isn't that.
Well, it's set in Canada for one thing.
Well, yeah, but no, but like it's not. It's we're not going from like rural England in hot fuzz to like fairly small scale. Like in an interview with him, they were talking about, did you know that you wanted it to be set in America? And he said yes, because it was the only real way that they could pull off the kind of chases that they want. Because obviously, congested London, that wouldn't work. You'd just be sitting in traffic for ages. But it felt culturally wholly different, and I'm not sure whether I think he's much more in tune with a British culture.
Yeah, like it's certainly the first time he stepped outside of it, and it seems to be a shaky step.
And not only has he visually, in the film's aesthetic and culture, as we were saying, stepped out differently, but this is a wholly different film in that there's considerably less character-driven points. It's very much focusing on a visual perspective, which is fantastic. You've got to see it purely for that, because the cleverness in its shooting and the editing that we keep touching on is just absolutely fantastic.
You should watch this to go and see how you should make a film, not how you should write a film.
Yeah.
we are being negative on it. We're focusing on the negatives. We both enjoyed the film.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think possibly we're being harsh because it's possibly our favourite director.
Yeah. The only reason that we can have such a kind of visceral response is because ultimately it's coming from a place of caring. We care about not only the writer and the work so well, and if it's something that we feel it's surprised us in that it's different to what we were expecting, and what we thought we were going to see.
You're so when we were coming back from the cinema, Dan was really like angrily frustrated.
I really am. I think what makes it worse is that it would have been easy to be angry and to be angry and say it because it was just I didn't enjoy it because I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. It just did things that I felt
it shouldn't have done.
It wasn't necessary. There was no reason to skimp on character, and the story is very kind of
linear.
Yeah, like and it's an action film. Like you don't want to overcomplicate things because then with the visual perspective added as well,
yeah,
it would just get a little bit too kind of murky.
You feel like you're a teacher whose favourite student has just delivered an essay, and it's fine. You enjoyed it, but there was so much stuff in there they didn't need to talk about.
Yeah.
There was
and there
it
so
wasn't
many
the greatness.
Should have talked about. Like
Baby, we need to get out of here.
I have to end this. Are we in bed together now? Baby.
So in that spirit then, what would you give Baby Driver out of 10?
Out of 10, like 6.5.
Okay, I think I'd also go for I'd give it 6.5. I think that's a very fair rating. We're both recommending that you should see it. It is not a bad film by any stretch of the imagination.
And if people are new to Edgar Wright stuff, I think it would be really interesting to watch this first, then go back and watch
Shaun of the
Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, because that did really badly. Scott Pilgrim did
commercially it did badly,
in the
but
box
critically
office.
It was great.
And then it's now become like a cult classic.
Yeah. Do you think this will become a cult classic?
Well, interestingly enough, again, to talk, one of the things that Mark Kermode was saying is that he says that if he was comparing it to Scott Pilgrim, really poor critical reception when it started has now become a cult classic. Kermode believes that this is already a cult. This will be a cult classic from the moment it's been released. I think it might be, but I think it might be for all the wrong reasons, because I feel like a cult classic, to ingrain itself into a portion of society, like Juno, is another film that did it really well. It's clever filmmaking, but ultimately it becomes a classic because of the story. Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's these things. It touches on points that really kind of connect with you and emotionally move you. Baby Driver didn't do that. It looks amazing.
I think the other thing it has in its favour is it does have very quotable dialogue. The fact that any time now somebody says to you baby, you're going to want to go B-A-B-Y baby.
Yeah.
Like that, there's snazzy dialogue. It's not big and it's not clever, I think it'd be fair to say. Jamie Foxx's character had a bunch of great one-liners.
But see, then that's another thing. Like, doesn't that go to show even more how meaningless it is? If the lines are so quotable and so kind of like, this will be a clever, funny thing to say, then it really kind of makes you think how they're treating character interactions in the film. Yeah. There are very few points where you really have a genuine conversation. You watch something and you go, oh wow, that was really nice. Like the most emotional anything got is when you look to the mixtape that says mum.
Yeah, mom,
sorry. And I think that's kind of that even in itself is a bit of a cheap ploy to get response out of you, because it's not, they haven't worked for it.
So I really feel like I feel bad that we're being so harsh, but it does feel necessary.
I feel bad because I'm genuinely a bit disappointed in the film.
Yeah.
I think it was good, but I think he can do better, and he's proved it. He's proved it with other stuff.
Yeah. Again, you're like a disappointed teacher.
Yeah, this will be going to a different audience.
For sure.
It will be definitely more of a breakout for him in America, which will be fantastic. I think that he should be really up there on the world stage as a filmmaker because he's so clever.
He can be so clever, as he is
But
saying.
as a filmmaker,
yeah,
he can make films well.
Oh yeah, he understands editing.
Yeah,
I think it's the most
just,
important thing.
if you can try and find that sweet spot where you balance the film in the making and the film in the practice, and you can get them together to work, and he's done it before, he just hasn't, I don't think, done it as well this time.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, but go and watch it. Go and see it.
Definitely.
It's really, really good.
Let us know what you thought. I feel like maybe we're the negative Nellies here.
Maybe. I'm really interested to see what people think. I don't think it'll be very easy to take away from this like that we've been really, really harsh. But I think I'm really keen to see it again. Actually.
Yeah, I think it's a film that will benefit from 2 screenings.
Yeah, because now I know what I'm in for. Maybe my opinion
perhaps this is an exercise in expectation management. But let us know what you thought. We always love reading your comments, so put them down there, and we'll be doing more stuff like this soon. Let us know what you thought of the new setup, by the way.
Yeah.
We have so many cameras. We don't know what to do with them. Literally, please send us help. We're a bit confused.
That's so good.
But thanks for watching, and we'll see you, point at your camera, next time.